Hello, everyone. Welcome to Trek on Tuesday. It's a wonderful Tuesday, and we've got a wonderful, I'd call it an old school Trek on Tuesday kind of story. Wouldn't you, Aaron?
I absolutely would call it an old school Trek on Tuesday. This is like a typical old fashioned scout outing story, Gina, that we're going to read. Scouts going on an adventure in the outdoors. It's kind of what scouting is all about. And today's very wintry, even though it's, I think, about 78 degrees here in North Texas right now.
Yeah, it's warm here. It's unseasonably warm. I do feel like we've said that literally every time we've talked about a winter story on Trek on Tuesday.
Yep.
So it's going to be fun to pretend that we're not here and we're in like a chilly Colorado at an
Yes.
awesome ski resort.
Yes. Speaking of that, Gina, our story is about, you must have already known this. It's about some Colorado scouts who go skiing. I think we've talked briefly about our history, personal history with skiing and with snow sports. We're both from Texas, so it's not something that we've done on a regular basis. I've often wished that I did live somewhere where it was easier to go skiing, right? I'm jealous of these Colorado scouts who it's kind of in their backyard, you know?
Right. We are from Texas, and unless you have a house I don't know about, we don't have like a house in Vail.
Nope.
Or
Not
anything
me,
like that.
Not me.
So you can read between the lines. I don't want to speak for Aaron, but we're not very good.
It's been quite a while. It's been quite a few years since I've been snow sporting. I have been skiing and snowboarding, but it's been a while, but it's super fun. I do love it. And like I
Yes.
said, I'm jealous of folks. I'm sure we have folks watching right now who live a lot closer to a place where you can go skiing or snowboarding, either out in the West or in the Northeast or somewhere like that.
Literally everywhere but here.
Yep. But so we're going to sort of live vicariously through you guys today.
Yes. So if you are watching, let us know, where do you like to ski? Or if you haven't been skiing or snowboarding, let us know, where would you like to go? Like, where's number one on your list? We would love to read those while we're live. When we were preparing for the show, behind the scenes, Brian showed the description. He writes those, so shout out to him. But he was showing the description that he wrote on Facebook, and it said something like easy greens to, very challenging double black diamonds. And Aaron, do you?
Yes,
know what
of
that
course
means?
I do.
I was just going to say greens. I mean, that's my color. I don't think it's easy. I think it's hard.
Yeah. Speak for yourself, Mr. Behind the Scenes Brian, as to what's easy. I agree. I'm with you, Gina.
Yeah, I actually almost said that to him. Then I was like, you know what? I got to let it go. I'm just not good, and they're not that hard.
I think Behind the Scenes Brian has done quite a bit of snow sporting in his. We'll see if he chimes in. Sometimes he chimes in. We'll see if he chimes in.
He has more connections to cold weather environments than we do. Or at least
to him, greens are easy. To me and Gina, it's a little more challenging.
Yeah.
But we are going to get into the story written by our friend Michael Freeman, who did a good job of breaking this stuff down, safety on the slopes and how you kind of make sure you don't get in over your head. Folks will probably, if you've ever been skiing, you've seen those signs before, and you want to make sure you don't go down that route where it shows like two black diamonds, unless
you took 4 years of skiing in college, you can probably handle the black diamonds.
Exactly, unless you have been doing a lot of skiing. Yeah, I still remember the last time I went, sitting at the top of like a black diamond and looking down at it and just going nope, and just kind of scooping on down to the next one where it's a lot easier and a lot more flat.
Behind the Scenes Brian does indeed say that he took 4 years of skiing in college. I didn't, where I went to college, that was not a class.
Yes. So it tells you right there, he went to a college where you can do skiing.
Right.
That wasn't offered of mine either.
Brian, do you go for the blacks whenever you go skiing? Like, is that can you do it? Do you still do that? Let us know. We're on Pins and Needles finding out what behind the scenes Brian's choice is when it comes to difficulty level skiing.
Yes.
As you said, our own Michael Freeman wrote this story. We have some great photos that go along with it. And behind the scenes, Brian, another shout out for him because he's going to be showing those as we go. And we're getting some great comments from you guys. Todd says that he's been cross-country skiing, but never downhill.
Now, that's a workout.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds exhausting.
That is a workout, Todd. Good for you. That'll keep you in shape right there, especially if you do it on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's like you kind of forget there's a whole nother world out there. I think my mom was like in ski club in high school, and the idea that that would exist is just so far beyond. We
Yep.
don't have hockey teams
Yep.
hardly.
That's exactly right, Gina.
Anyway, enough about where we live. This story is called Colorado Scouts Conquer Slopes on a Ski Weekend. After spending 15 hours speeding down the slopes and rekindling his skiing skills, Nathan Cayley didn't want his troop's weekend ski trip to end. But the schedule and his body said otherwise. I wish school was off so we could go another day, but I was tired, the 12-year-old first-class scout said. If tiredness did not exist, I'd go for 5 more days. Still, 2 days proved to be plenty of time to work on a merit badge, learn some techniques, and create great memories. I remember that from ski trips. You're exhausted and you're sore because you've used muscles you haven't used in a long time if you don't go all the time.
You're basically just like doing squats the whole time, I think, that sort of core upper leg muscles. And by the way, if tiredness did not exist, I'm right there with you. If tiredness did not exist, Nathan, I would be doing all kinds of stuff as well. Yes, yeah. Unfortunately, that's a great quote. I love that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, tiredness does exist.
Can you imagine if tiredness didn't exist?
Yeah, I know. That would be great. I know. But unfortunately, on this trip for these guys, tiredness did exist. Every year, Troop 1, Colorado Springs, Colorado, goes skiing at Monarch Mountain. About a 2-hour drive away from them, the ski resort in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado offers 63 different runs at varying levels of difficulty. Although some of them had skied before, last January's trip would be some scouts' first time, so everyone prepared the same. Reading the Snow Sports Merit Badge pamphlet, they reviewed ski equipment, proper clothing, and trail markers. Markers identify each ski slope with an assigned color: green for easy, blue for intermediate, black for Aaron and Gina don't go there. That's for the difficult ones. We discussed it so you don't go down a steep hill, says Paulo Madrid, 12 years old, a first-class scout. Usually there's a sign next to the run. After a couple of weeks of planning, the guys headed to a lodge a few miles from the resort.
Ooh, that is my favorite. Going to the lodge.
That is cool.
I mean, I think of like getting in the hot tub when it's freezing cold outside. I feel like that's a rite of passage when you go skiing. Or hot chocolate. I mean, that is. And that makes you sore too. Just like warming up and getting freezing and then warming up. That wears your skin out.
Yes, absolutely. Winter sports is a good workout. On top of all that, you're wearing all this extra gear, right? So you're carrying around extra weight.
Oh, yeah, and you take the goggles off and you're like, I'm bruised like this. And I have a really cool suntan. So yeah, reminder, wear your sunscreen even skiing because you can't get burned very easily.
Yes, thank you, Cheetah.
Okay, start off easy. On the first day, everyone hopped on the bunny hill, a gentle incline for beginners. It'd been a long time since I skied, Nathan says. A few others and I were seeing what our ski levels still were. The adult leaders assessed everyone's adbilities. Some needed to stay on easy slopes, while others were ready for hard runs. All the scouts took to the green level slopes first before advancing to more challenging runs. Everyone used the buddy system, so they paired up with a friend or two for all activities. If someone fell or lost a ski, someone would be there to help. On this trip, both happened frequently. That's why we have the buddy system, says first-class scout Keegan Bench, 12. If someone were to get hurt or lost, having a buddy could prevent a serious situation from becoming worse. The system helps ensure everyone's safety. I mean, people love to ski, including me, but I think sometimes it gets discounted, especially by kids who haven't been, that it can be dangerous. There are some perils, and so it is important to have something like a buddy system.
Yes, absolutely. And I also appreciate the fact that even though some of them have skied before, they started off with green slopes. That makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's kind of like riding a bike. I think maybe in that you don't ever really forget how to do it, but still, even for folks who live up just a couple hours away from this resort, they still play it safe early on, which is what I would do.
Right.
And for me, early on might be the first like 2 or 3 days. For them, maybe it's only the first morning. But I think still,
I'll stick to green.
Sticking to green, especially at the beginning, is
wrong.
the way to go. However, moving up, as we'll find out later on in the trip, some of them may or may not have done that. I don't know. We're going to find out. Keegan is a scout who tried snowboarding instead of skiing. Have you ever been snowboarding? I did go snowboarding my very, very last time, my very last snow sports trip of snowboarding. A lot of fun. And I agree with this next statement. Generally, skiing is easier to learn, but as an experienced skier, Keegan wanted to try something new. And as with anything new, practice helps get you better, even on seemingly simple tasks like getting back up after you fall. On a snowboard, you can get up by rolling over onto your stomach and pushing yourself up onto your hands and knees. This is called getting up toe side. Standing up from a seated position is called getting up heel side. Keegan, though, says, I don't know how people do it heel side. I'm sure we have some folks watched who have snowboarded before.
Look at how cool Keegan looked.
Yes,
Sorry.
exactly,
Just look at that picture.
Well, what's tricky about snowboarding is both of your feet, are attached to that board. And unless you fall hard enough to where they become unhooked, you don't want to waste time unhooking every single time you fall down. You've got to get up with your feet still strapped into that board. So it's tricky. Whereas with skiing, it snaps out, I think, much easier. Again, Keegan says it takes practice to stand up that way, move your board close to your body, dig in the back edge of your board into the snow, use your hands to push yourself up. Some people find grabbing the front edge of their snowboard helps it easier to keep them balanced. After 8 hours on the slopes, Gina, did I mention these are young people who are in excellent condition? They spent 8 hours on the slopes. Then they headed back to the lodge to clean up and eat dinner.
I'm thinking 2-3 hours, maybe.
Yes, exactly. We made a humble scout meal of ramen, Nathan says. Downhill skiing can also be strenuous. You can burn a couple hundred calories within a half hour. Eating food rich in carbohydrates can help your body recover by replenishing your muscles' glycogen, which is a type of sugar that provides your body with energy. Important to eat healthy on a ski trip, just like any other scout outing. Paulo, who lost his ramen flavor packet, says he ate plain noodles. It was not fun, but noodles were good enough for him.
That's a very funny addition.
Yes, it is.
That Michael Freeman sense of humor. That is funny. I love ramen. That sounds like a great meal right after skiing. I'm not even just talking fancy ramen. I'm talking, the ramen that we get for like 99 cents at the grocery store.
Right,
love it.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Let's go again, Aaron.
Let's do it.
What they're saying. Eating carbs before a workout maintains your energy. On the second day, the scouts ate oatmeal and biscuits and gravy before tackling the mountain for 7 hours. Everybody got on the more challenging stuff, Nathan says. It's nice to feel that fast feeling while you're going down an easy route. I did feel more comfortable with the slopes I liked, but I tried a few more blues. Ooh. With added confidence from a day of skiing, Nathan and his buddy Nehemiah Hurtado advanced to the intermediate slopes. The knowledge from the Snow Sports Merit Badge also helped, especially in practicing turns and stops. I think it was beneficial since I like skiing so much, says Nehemiah 11. It's a great idea to try the Merit Badge, Keegan says. It was a great addition to the trip. Aaron, see this picture right here. I wonder, like I know you say, and I've heard people say it's like riding a horse, you never forget. When I learned to ski, I was very little, had a lot of trouble. It really turned around for me when my parents dropped me off at the ski lesson. And then I was, smooth sailing. It made a lot of sense. But I was still doing the pizza, as they call it, when you're a kid.
I used to call it the snow plow, where you're just plowing down with that triangle shape, right?
So if I went skiing again, surely I hope I would still remember this, but I'd still have to progress, I guess, to what they called French fries back in my class.
That's funny. That's funny. I never heard that, but I think that's right. You start off with the plow like that, with the pizza shaped, because you're basically in that position. Your brakes are always on, at least a little bit. You're always, as soon as you put them parallel, like French fries,
you're taking off.
You're pointed the wrong direction or the right direction if you want to go downhill. Yeah, you totally take off. I think you get to that point relatively quickly, but it just takes some getting used to. I would be curious to hear from anybody who's been snowboarding and skiing what the difference is. Snowboarding, in my opinion, it's not quite as easy to pick up speed like that. But one wider board, you don't go flying down the hill as fast as you do with skis.
The New York City Cub Scout Pack 422 says we can do cross-country skiing if we get a blizzard that shuts down our streets. Yeah, I bet you guys do get some snow here and there. Probably snow, ski-worthy snow. Yeah, but it would have to be cross-country there.
Todd says he's been snowshoeing in addition to cross-country skiing. That might also come in handy if there's a blizzard on your street. Just bust out your snowshoes. That's another good workout, snowshoeing.
A few people are laughing at the French fries and pizza comment. I am curious if anybody's watching has heard that before, because I really think that's what they say.
I don't think I've ever heard that, but you probably had a funny instructor.
Well, I did, but we went back again, and there was another instructor who gave my whole family a lesson. And I remember he said, Gina, now you're ready to work on turning your pizza into French fries again. So it must have been a common, I don't know. Maybe it's only for, very little kids years ago.
The scouts from this story, Gina, Troop 1 from Colorado Springs, have a few more tips that they shared with our writer for the story. Tip number 1, purchase your lift tickets and ski gear before going. I agree with that 100%. You can usually find better deals this way. Plus, you won't have to wait in line at the resort. Definitely a good idea to take care of all that stuff in advance. When you take a break while you're skiing, when you get tired, like Gina and I do, place your gloves inside your helmet so you don't misplace them. Perfect. Keep any loose items in zippered pockets so you don't lose them while skiing. You might think, I'll just put my extra pair of glasses in my pocket. Zip that bad boy up, because when you fall, you might lose all that stuff. And their final tip, carry a small backpack containing your Scout outdoor essentials, including water. Stay hydrated, Gina. Skiing can be a workout.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where you can't just assume because it's cold and snowy that you're not going to be able to get dehydrated, or like we said, you could definitely get a sunburn.
Sunburn for real. Absolutely, you need sunscreen, yeah.
Before we move on to our next topic, I want to do a quick rundown of the colors because we've been mentioning them throughout today's show. Ski slopes are rated based on their steepness. A 45-degree angle equals 100% grade. Okay, that's going to make more sense in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Green circles, which we call green, those are easy. The slopes are groomed and wide. The slope grades are less than 25%. So remember, we said a 45-degree angle equals 100% grade. So they're just a little less steep. Blue, well, a lot if you're at the green. Blue square is intermediate. Slopes are groomed but steeper. Slope grades go from 25 to 40%. That's a pretty big jump. Black diamond, that's advanced. Slopes could be groomed or not. Grades are 40% or more. And then there's the double black diamond, expert. Narrow slopes can have drop-offs and obstacles like trees. Grades are 40% or more and often include backcountry routes. Yeah, so those could be pretty icy, I guess.
And I think double black diamond, Gina, that's kind of like class 5 rapids, where you really have to know what you're doing. On most, scout outings, you're probably not going to be tackling that kind of thing unless you
could be a
really,
venturing
really
crew
trained.
that's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That does it on a regular basis or something like that. Exactly.
And maybe you live there.
That is extreme. I guess it's fun for folks who are into that.
It's like rock climbing or something.
Scares me to death. Yeah.
It really scares me for sure. I think it's because we're not around it all the time.
Yeah, we're just not used to it as much. It's exactly right. Yeah.
So Aaron, I know you're a bit of an expert on the Snow Sports Merit Badge, and I do have a question about it.
I'm not at all, actually.
Okay, so let's say I was a scout here in the Metroplex in Dallas-Fort Worth. Can I get the Snow Sports Merit Badge?
If you can find somewhere to go where you can go snow sporting, you certainly could. Part of the merit badge requirements are to learn about winter sports safety, things like that. Learn how to be prepared for winter sports and things like that. But you also have a choice of activities to go on. Downhill skiing qualifies for the Snow Sports Merit Badge, as does cross country skiing. Todd, you can do it. Go for it. Also qualifies. Snowboarding qualifies for all of our snowboarders who are watching. So you do have to do one of those 3 things to earn the merit badge. And you also have to present a lot of the techniques of how you do it, how you snowboard, how you cross country ski. I know cross country skis are different than downhill skis, right? They actually work mechanically differently than downhill skis do. So there's a lot of little details like that you learn about in the Snow Sports Merit Badge, which is pretty cool. Certainly, yeah, if you can take a trip up to an area where you can do that kind of thing, or like you say, if you live in Colorado Springs,
yeah, you can backyard. Brian, behind the scenes, Brian shared a link saying there could be a indoor ski. Let's see, indoor ski slalom coming to Dallas. I wonder if that Sounds like it would count. But let me
I
give you
wonder
a
if it would. That's a great question. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious. Because there's actually a lot of those I know, like in other countries, I think they have indoor ski slopes. Hypothetical. Let's say it's like snowpocalypse again in Texas, right? We had a lot of snow. You know, could you do cross-country skiing like down your sidewalk? Does that count?
I don't see why you couldn't. Give me one reason why you couldn't.
I don't have them. You're the expert on the merit badge.
I see. That seems like that would be totally fine to me. Yes. If
Okay.
the next snowpocalypse.
Make lemonade out of lemons.
Exactly right. That's exactly right.
Well, pretty cool. Then it does seem possible. And we hear a lot of people who I feel like I've heard a lot of kids around here who have actually gotten the snow sports merit badge. So it was kind of a rhetorical question, but I'm just curious how they do it. I guess that they have gone on a ski trip.
I think that's probably correct. Yep.
Okay. Very cool. Shout out to all of our viewers, getting some great comments. Rob says ice skating down the sidewalks is more likely. I guess that's true. Makes sense. He's here. He would know.
Yes, he would.
Well, Aaron, have we covered everything you're hoping to related to the merit badge?
You know what, Gina? Maybe there's one more thing that I will cover. There's something called the Skiers Responsibility Code. Have you heard of that?
No, never.
Any chance? I thought maybe we could just go over that real quick. As soon as I call it up here on my computer, I will definitely do it. So the responsibility code is something that all scouts learn before they go skiing. It's good for really just anybody to know if you've got a ski trip planned for this winter or on into spring. Some folks, you can go skiing as late as spring break. You might want to keep this in mind, Gina. The first thing you want to do when you're skiing, always stay in control. Right, you don't want to go just when I was a younger man and not very smart. I thought it was fun just to kind of go, you kind of border on that edge of maybe where you're not really in control of yourself because that seemed fun and exciting. That's really not what you're supposed to do. That's not safe. You should always stay in control so that at any moment you could stop or slow down or turn if you need to avoid another person or to avoid our objects. And skiing is kind of like, in some ways, driving, in that you're responsible to get out of the way of the person ahead of you or the person below you on the mountain. They can't see you, right? They have their back to you. So if you go zooming right and past them and they scoot over at the last minute, that's going to be your bad. You know what I'm saying? Because they can't see you coming from behind them. Right. Just like when you're driving, if you go zooming past somebody, you can be, liable for that. Do not stop. Once again, just like driving, do not stop any place where you obstruct a trail or are not visible from above. Don't just be standing there at the, if there's somebody coming down the hill from above you. If you're in an area of moving traffic, you got to keep moving. You can't just stop there. Use safety devices to help prevent runaway equipment, like have your glasses strapped to the back of your head, your poles strapped to your wrist, right? Your goggles strapped around so they don't fall off. Observe all posted signs and warning. We talked about that, Gina, the different kinds of signs that indicated the technical level of difficulties on the trail. One thing we haven't talked about, one of the exciting things about skiing are the lifts. How nervous were you the first time you had to get into a ski lift? I remember being pretty terrified, actually, the very first time.
Even just sitting in it, I was kind of scared, thinking whoa,
I remember
high up.
Yes, I remember, speaking of lessons, they went through a whole session of our lesson about just how to get on and off of the lift because kind of embarrassing if you're the one that makes them shut it down. I think there is an emergency shut-off switch, right? But they don't they really want to keep that thing going. You don't want to be the one that falls off or gets in the way or does something wrong.
Right.
I remember being extremely nervous. Getting on and off the lift can be tricky too, because if you don't get off, that son of a gun just keeps going around. Gina.
Were you there with your kids?
No, I'm talking about when I went as a teenager.
Okay. Have you done it with your kids?
No, I have not gone. I have not gone with my kids.
Because I'm just thinking of how hard it would be when you're maybe like an okay skier, but then you've also got your kid there that you have to make sure is going to get off the lift. Like, that just seems very stressful.
Getting off the lift is we could do a whole other show just on getting on and off of the ski lift.
Really? Honestly, that'd be cool if we went live to a resort and they did a little demo for us.
Yes, maybe someone would fly us up there.
Anybody interested? You just let us know. Okay. Pretty cool. I'm glad that I wish that I had known that pre-skiing.
Yeah, exactly. Rob, I think, has a good note here. Yes, and I do remember, Rob, that when you're with most new skis, if they come detached from your boot, if your boot comes unclipped, these little braking mechanisms often are automatically come shooting out. So the skis, otherwise, they would just keep going down the hill, Gina.
Oh.
Rob says when he was younger, the skis were actually strapped to his leg. So if you come unsnapped, they don't go skiing on their own. But yeah, that's a great point. If you fall and if your feet come unhooked, the little brakes automatically pop out the bottom, so they don't just ski on down without you. Because that would be kind of sad, right? To watch your skis just go on down the mountain without you.
You know, one other thing we didn't point out too is you'll see those scouts are all wearing helmets.
Yes.
I don't think I remember seeing a lot of people not in helmets, and you really do need to be in helmets.
That's a great point there. Yes. When I was a teenager, when I first went skiing, we didn't wear helmets at all, much like we didn't wear helmets when we went biking either. Thankfully, we've gotten a little more wise and smarter. Now we know that, just wear a darn helmet. It's not a big deal. And it keeps you a lot safer. The one time I went skiing as a young adult before I had kids, by that time, the culture had changed and everybody was wearing helmets. So yeah, at some point, I don't know when that happened, but at some point people realized, you know what? Probably should be wearing helmets because you're going fast and you fall back on your head. I mean,
yeah,
it's pretty easy
to hit things, unfortunately, too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Also, I've got just one piece of very exciting news here before we wrap up. Our old buddy Xavier is watching.
Always exciting news. Xavier, thank you for watching. But I wonder how often Xavier goes skiing in Florida. Maybe not too often, but that's okay. That's why you have us, Xavier. You can live vicariously through us.
Yes, you can check out this story and many more, and many other skiing stories, in fact, on scoutlife.org.
Absolutely. Good job, Gina. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate it very much. Happy snow sports winter to everybody out there. If you earn your snow sports merit badge, let us know how it goes. Let us know what you did, what your favorite part of it was. We appreciate you all watching. We will be back on this Friday at 2 p.m. Central Time for an episode of Cub Chat Live. Gina can't wait for that. Good to see everybody.
Yes. Bye, everybody.
So long, everybody.